Price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I am your host, Afro Elite. Before we get started, please make sure that you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that share button. Everything that you guys do helps the reach and the growth of the channel, and I appreciate it so very much. We're on our way to 10K. Thank you guys very much. Now, Ron DeSantis, he's running for president, and it's not looking good for him whatsoever, which is no surprise to anybody. His poll numbers, he was second to Trump. I guess he might still be nationally over all of the polls, but his polls are dropping. It's getting worse and worse and worse. I made a video not too long ago saying that he was tied neck and neck with Vivek Ramaswamy, and now it's seeming like he's taking a back seat to Vivek Ramaswamy because Ramaswamy is not going down in the polls and DeSantis is going down in the polls, and he's only increased the huge margin between him and Trump. There's no way he's beating Trump. I've said that before, many times before, but there's no way he's beating Trump, and it's looking like there's no way he's even beating Vivek with all of the stuff he's got going on with him right now, and his polls dropping like a rock. But we're going to check out the polls. We're going to check out the numbers. We're going to give the information about all of this, and we're going to break it down. So let's get started. From bad to much worse for Ron DeSantis. 3 new polls this week cement the picture of an imploded presidential candidacy. The 2024 Republican presidential primary campaign is increasingly looking like a coronation, in no small part thanks to the implosion of Donald Trump's would-be usurper, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. New polls this week lay bare just how poorly things have gone for the governor. While DeSantis arguably remains the biggest of the minor hurdles Trump needs to clear, his electoral case has effectively collapsed alongside his poll numbers. The national polls from Fox News and Quinnipiac University shows Trump expanding his lead over second-place DeSantis to 47 and 50 points respectively. Those are Trump's largest margins to date in high-quality national polling of this race, and thus his lead in the 538 polling average has expanded to a whopping 41 points. That's a huge difference, okay? Donald Trump is clearing the board of DeSantis. It's not even close. Okay, normally when polls like this, normally the polls might be off by a few points. They would consider the polls would be off by if it was 10 points. He's leading by 41 points. DeSantis might as well just drop out, honestly. The only hope, and I've said this before in many videos, the only hope DeSantis had, well, he doesn't have any hope. Let's just be honest. He doesn't. I don't even know why I would say that. But the thing is that he's not clearing Trump no matter what. Unless something happened and Trump can't run, he has to drop out or something like that, there's no way DeSantis is going to clear this. It continues to say, 7 months ago, before DeSantis announced his campaign, he had crawled to within just 2 points of Trump. On top of those 2 polls came a Washington Post Monmouth University survey in South Carolina that shows DeSantis in 4th place at 9%. South Carolina was never expected to be a good state for DeSantis given the 2 prominent South Carolina Republicans in Senate, Tim Scott, 10% in the poll, and former Governor Nikki Haley, 18% in the race. But since DeSantis launched his campaign, it is the first high-quality early state poll to show him falling into single digits and the first one to show him in 4th place. Perhaps the bigger lesson from these polls is the utter loss of what was supposed to be the silver bullet for DeSantis, electability. Fresh off the resounding 2022 re-election victory in the midterm campaign that was bad for Republicans and worse for Trump, the argument was right there for the making, but it has vanished. The Fox News poll is one of the first to test not just a Trump versus President Biden matchup or even a DeSantis versus Biden matchup, but to pit all the top Republican candidates against the incumbent president. And of the 7, DeSantis actually faces the worst. Here is how it looks. Now, as you can see here, is Trump +2, Haley +2, Vivek Ramaswamy +1, Mike Pence +1, Chris Christie -1, Tim Scott -1, DeSantis -3. Now, there's only a few people who are negative anything. Chris Christie and Tim Scott are -1, and Ron DeSantis is -3. Ron DeSantis is doing horrific in the polls. He's doing horrific in the polls. I don't think he's smart enough to drop out, but if he was a smarter person, first off, he wouldn't be Ron DeSantis if he was a smarter person. But if he was a smarter person, he would drop out because there's not a chance he's clearing this. I made a video not long ago saying he was tying with Vivek Ramaswamy, and Ramaswamy was catching up and beating him. So you think, man, this is terrible for him, which is good for us, but it's terrible for him. It continues to say, CNN also recently tested the same 7 matchup. While DeSantis was closer to his competition, he performed worse than all except Ramaswamy. These are the small margin of error differences, but the polls test the same universe of voters and compare how the candidates perform. In both, DeSantis fails to match the performance of his fellow Republicans despite having superior name recognition to all but Trump. In the Fox News poll, Biden takes 42 to 44% of the vote when the alternative is not Trump or DeSantis, but 47 when it is DeSantis. A big reason for that, DeSantis has badly marginalized himself while running hard to the right on issues such as vaccines, and by using violent rhetoric, he has clearly and unambiguously alienated middle-of-the-road voters. So what that means is that's him saying, like, there are some people who are not necessarily on the right or the left. Now, of course, the Republicans, they're going to appeal to the right. But there are some people, I'm talking about voters, who are like, you know what, I can go either way. They're on the fence when it comes to Democrat and Republican. They're more of the issue type of party. You know what I'm saying? They're more of the, I'm not loyal to a party. I can go either way. But the thing is that DeSantis is so far to the right. He's so alt-right that the people who are on the fence are not going to vote for him because he's so heavy on that right side. The only people who support him are the, quote, anti-woke, anti-leftist, anti-Black Lives Matter. Those are the only group of voters who can support him, unlike all of the other Republican candidates who still, of course, lean more to the right, but they don't lean as heavy to the right to alienate the middle voters, the moderate voters. The Fox News poll just shows 18% of the independents have a favorable opinion of DeSantis, while 61% have an unfavorable one. While independents often take a dim view of big-name politicians, DeSantis has gone from a -16 net favorability among them in December and -20 in April to -43 today. That man, he's just getting worse and worse and worse. Okay, continuing, that -43 split is now worse than the ever polarizing Trump -36. Okay, so the thing is, what they're saying with this is that there was a lot of people when Trump was president who did not like Trump. Trump had a -36. That's the worst it ever got for Trump. Okay, that means his unfavorability was 36. Okay, but DeSantis cleared. So DeSantis, according to the independent voter, DeSantis is worse than what Donald Trump is. Okay, much worse. Okay, that's what this is saying. It continues to say, fewer independents like DeSantis, 18%, than the lesser known Ramaswamy, 28%. So that means people don't even know Ramaswamy as well as they do DeSantis, but people like Ramaswamy more. And Ramaswamy ain't nothing. So that's, if Ramaswamy is more likable than you got a problem. You really do. It continues to say, the South Carolina poll offers similar lessons. Among non-Republicans who could vote in a state primary, just 11% like DeSantis, while a whopping 67% dislike him. Only Ramaswamy and Trump compare, and neither is as far underwater. Man, it's not looking good for him. Continuing, DeSantis also takes just 2% of these voters, placing 7th among them. None of this means DeSantis could not be a player if Trump falters. He is still generally running in second place, and the polls of Iowa has been friendlier to him than the national polls. Well, the thing is that he's running for the president of the United States of America. So how he's viewed across the nation is very important. Now, he might win certain states. Iowa might like him. Of course, Florida might like him, or whatever the case is. But the thing is that if majority of the nation feels like Ramaswamy and Trump are better than you, and if they're going to vote Republican, they're going to choose either one of those two, then it's not looking good for him. Even if Iowa or Florida or whatever other state might like him, likes him. It continues to say, it is also not clear what he could have done differently in a party that is generally unconcerned with or has a warped view of electability, and in which contenders have to appeal to Trump supporters to have a slot in the primaries. So, okay, we all know that most of the people who are going to vote for the Republicans and everything, most of them are Trump supporters to some degree or another. Most of them are probably going to vote for Trump if they have the ability to do so. So the thing is that the Republicans who are trying to run like at second place, they can't really do a lot of bad talking about Trump, because Trump seems untouchable in the eyes of the Republican voters right now. He's just without fault. He's without wrong. And if you badmouth Trump, it's going to look bad for your campaign. And the thing is that that's the same party that you're trying to get votes from. So most of the people who are, pretty much everybody who's running in the Republican primary is not really doing a smart thing, because you're appealing to people who are going to automatically choose somebody else over you if they get that chance. So you can't even say how you would be better than Trump because you'd be booed out the room. So none of them are smart really at all, but let's continue. But what is clear is that DeSantis has done an extremely poor job threading that needle. If the door to a Trump alternative ultimately opens, a big if, Republicans no longer have such an obvious and pragmatic alternative. This is what he gets. This is what he deserves. All of that anti-black rhetoric, all of that hate woke, all of that, oh, well, they're going to replace the white people and take black history out of the schools, all of that stuff, all of the rhetoric leads to the radicalizing of these incel white supremacists like Ryan Palmetto, who goes out to Jacksonville and commits that anti-black massacre. I was about to say murder, but it was a massacre. And that is because of Ron DeSantis. And not just in Florida, but around the nation. Ron DeSantis is his anti-blackness, his hatred of blackness has really sparked this incel, deep-rooted hatred of blackness that a lot of these people around the nation have. So a lot of this can be tied to Ron DeSantis. A lot of anti-black hate crimes can be tied to the rhetoric that Ron DeSantis spews. So Ron DeSantis does not deserve to be president. He wasn't going to be president anyway because he's just stupid. He's a stupid person. If you look at Florida, Florida is not in a good shape because of Ron DeSantis at all. Ron DeSantis only makes dumb decisions. The only reason some people, those incel, racist, white supremacists like him is because he hates black people. And they like somebody who has some form of power who can do something against black people. That's the only thing. Besides his anti-woke, his teaching black history in schools or teaching about the benefit of slavery, besides all of that stuff, nobody can tell you anything that Ron DeSantis has done at all. Oh, he's never done anything positive, and the only things he's done is anti-black and negative. Ron DeSantis is not going to become president. I don't even think, I honestly do not believe that he would even beat Trump in Florida. If Trump makes it, and I know he got a lot of legal stuff going on right now, but if Trump makes it to, the presidency where he can actually run and everybody can vote for either DeSantis or Trump, I believe that Florida is going to vote for Trump over DeSantis. That's what I believe. They're saying stuff like Iowa likes DeSantis. Iowa likes him better than the national polls do, but they didn't say that Iowa likes DeSantis more than they like Vivek or even Trump. They're not saying that. DeSantis does not have a snowball's chance in hell in winning the presidency. I don't even think if Trump drops out of the presidency, I don't even think DeSantis could win. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do you think about DeSantis losing in the polls? What do you think about why DeSantis is losing in the polls? What do you think about him versus Trump or Vivek? What do you guys think about that? Let me know that in the comment section below. Also, you should be following me on my various social media pages, which is Afro Elite on Instagram and The Afro Elite on Twitter. Please do not forget to subscribe, hit that like button, hit that notification button, because all of that helps the reach and the growth of the channel. We're on our way to 10,000 subscribers, and that's because of all of you guys working, liking, sharing, subscribing, all of what you guys do. I appreciate it so very much. Thank you. Now, with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, be one salute to every single last one of you all, and you all have a good one.